from there. Okay. So for this session, we're going to look at financial statements. Now, the end point of all we have been doing for the past few months is that at the end of the day, as a finance consultant, you're able to show the business their financial performance, map all the GS you have created, and use each of the accounting principles to come up with a financial statement that can show the true and fair view of the financial position. So we're just going to do that briefly. It's not supposed to be, I'll just do one of the tasks, then you can pick it up from there. So to come up or design your financial statements, we'll go to SPRO. Come here. I'll still use the company codes we are already familiar with. Go to financial statement, financial accounting, general ledger. So you can do this irrespective of the asset training. So I would expect you to also do this as part of your weekly work you're supposed to do. Then finish the config for assets, do your financial statement mapping. Then for the next class, we're just going to conclude on what is left. So go to general accounting, master data, GL accounts, then financial statement version. Then you come here, define financial statement versions. So you see a lot and lots of financial statements. Click new. Let's say our financial statement is AAA1. So AAA1, oil and gas, chart statement. The language is EN, English, chart of accounts. Our chart of accounts is KSH, I think so. We collected, okay, I think we have AA1, yeah. AA1. Yeah, so click on enter just to validate the information. Then you can save. Save. Then once you save, come up here to financial statement item. Yeah, so we're going to start. So we start building. So ideally in the real, in a real project, you're going to have the sample financial statement of the business. You're going to see how, you're going to see the breakdown of the subheads. So for, let me see if we can have a sample of financial statements so that I can show you so that it will make sense as we're building this. While my page, okay, while my page is opening, once you come here, we need to start creating these fields, right? So in this financial statement note, just double click, come here, call it financial. Okay, I'll use capital letter for these ones. Just the way, just replicate financial statement note, say okay. So just everything here, you can come here, call this not assigned. Not assigned. CGLs not assigned. Say okay. Then P&L, I call this profit and loss. And loss, another comprehensive income. This is this should be loss, retained earning loss, because this is the first one we had was loss. So loss, retained earning is part of the profit or loss of the business after your finance. So we have retained earnings gain. We have liabilities and equity. These are what we call the foundational. Then we have here assets. So just double click here and retype what you see there. Assets. Yeah. So if I just want to show you guys, so let me say sample of financial statements. So this is what a financial statement looks like. And this is income. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. So let me just open this. So you can see a sample of a financial. You can see net sales. Under net sales, you have, I want to see the one we can follow. Okay. So under operating expense, you have selling expense, operating expense. Under selling expense, you have adverts. You have three expenses: operating, selling, admin. Then I would also look for the one that has, okay, let me see. This one will have both the balance sheet. I just want to use this. So I will just show you how we map so that in case you get, in case you get a financial statement. So you can see the three income statements, balance sheet and cash flow statements. I'm trying to go to, okay, so many pages. Okay, so you can see a sample of an income statement. You can see a sample of the balance sheet. So this is a sample. Let me see if I can reduce the font of this. Yeah. Is it visible to you guys now? I think so. So you can see a sample of the income statement. You can see how it was structured. Then you can see a sample, you can see sales. Under sales, you have cost of goods sold. Then in the expense, you have operating expense. Under selling expense, you have this. Under admin expense, you have this. Then you have non-operating. Then in the balance sheet, you see the arrangement, assets. Under assets, you have current assets. And under liabilities, you have just like that. So basically what the business or the client expects you to do is to map this structure in your SAP. So it's to map it as it is in SAP. I'm going to map the one for liabilities because of time, so you can follow that step and map, get a sample financial statement online and try to create your financial statement to look like what that is. So I'm going to use this guy, these liabilities, and I'm going to try to map these guys. I might not have all the GLs, but I'll use the available GLs I have. But the idea is that you can see asset, under asset, you have current assets. Then under liabilities, you have current liabilities. If you come down, also under liabilities, you have stakeholders equity, which is part of liabilities. Then you have you have current assets, the way they group this thing, current asset. Then you have fixed assets, which they called here property, plant, and equipment. Then they also have intangible assets. So these are different structures. So we'll just use this structure and I'll just show you what it looks like. Then we'll just call it a day. So I've been able to, remember, I just replicated what was here. The next thing we need to do is to now use this structure. So in this structure, I have assets, liabilities, stakeholders, equity, property, plant, and equipment, which is also part of where there's a heading here they didn't put. It's supposed to be non-current asset, but it's missing. So I'll just focus on that. So the first two things I have is asset, liabilities, and stakeholders equity. So liabilities and equity are here already. So I'm going to, click here, click on this guy, this AA guy, click here. It's very important you follow these steps. Click on AA1, go to create items. Then under items, call this, we're going to create two main items. One, we have balance sheet, which is everything, or what we call the statement of financial position. Let me use the current position. Then you also have profit and loss. But we will focus on the balance sheet because of time and other comprehensive income. And say, okay, you have created these two. Remember, they are different. They are not part of these red things. So they are just standing on their own. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to assign these ones that have this red sign into these two I just created. This is like a major heading. So assets for, I want to put assets and liabilities inside of financial position. Then I want, and other ones like retained earnings inside financial position. Then the ones that are tied to income, I put them here. So for liabilities first, or let me start from the ones that will be at the bottom. Retained earnings loss, tick on it. Just click on it. You see this blue small line comes. When you click on it, click this select. It will turn to yellow. Then you now tick on where it's supposed to go to, which is financial statement. Tick on statement of financial position. Then you use assign this stuff here. So it's going to go in there. So when it comes, it's going to bring from node retained earnings to. So you want to move this one from here to this node. Then tell the system is going to be a subordinate of this one. Yeah. Then you say, okay. Remember, these two, we created them. These other ones, we just renamed them from what we met in the system. Then say, okay. So you see, it has taken retained earning loss to this financial position. Select retained earnings gain. Click this to turn it to blue. Select financial position. Tick this guy to reassign it. So go to reassign. Tell it is a subordinate. Say okay. 2. Select liabilities and equity. Click on this plot assign, on this select. Select the financial position. Use this arrow and reassign. And tell the system is a subordinate. Then select assets. Click on this. Select the heading, not this one, the heading. Click on reassign. Tell the system this is a subordinate. Yeah, so this is arranged. Another thing we need to do, financial notes. Yeah, so financial note should stand on its own. Profit and loss, select, assign, and select this one and assign it and make it a subordinate of this one. So we have these two, and naturally should stay on their own. Financial notes will carry things around the secondary cost elements we created for controlling. So in these financial notes, we're going to add stuff. So you see, these ones already have folders. Yeah. So I will add another folder I call, so click here, create another item, call it okay, since I'm not going to do all of them, so this is fine. So if you click this folder, it closes. Click this folder, it closes. So we have financial statement, profit and loss, financial, we have these ones. Now I want to work on the financial position. So click it open. You're going to see asset, liabilities, retained earnings, retained loss. Now, assets in our stuff is divided into current assets and non-current assets and intangible assets. So I'll come here, click here, this asset, create items. So you see financial statement asset, under asset, you have this. So we have current assets, non-current assets, and intangible based on what we saw anyway. But normally these two are the main. By standard, we have these two. But based on our the document we are referring to, we will need to bring out three. So it depends on the client's procedure. So under assets, we have current, non-current, and intangible. See, we have created them there. Then for liabilities, under liabilities, we have current, non-current, and stakeholders equity. So here, select it, can just click on it, go to create items. So current liabilities, non-current liabilities, and equity. Current liabilities, non-current liabilities, and equity. And yeah, stakeholders equity. Okay. So we'll do this. So we have these two. So open the assets. In the current assets, if you check here in the current assets, we have, these are all GLs. These are all GLs. So we need to bring the GLs into light. So we have been able to arrange based on the sample we're looking at. In some organizations, you might have this drop down, keep going down, down, down. Under current assets, you might still keep creating folders until you reach to the GL, until you get to the GL. So but now, from what we have, this is the classification. So we want to assign the GLs to these guys, right? So what am I will just create one intangible asset for the sake of this example, so it will make sense. I'll just create one GL I call, no. Sorry. Oh, and I didn't save this thing. Oh my God. Ah, oh my. I need to do this. So guys, please make sure you save. Oh, this thing is very tricky. If you don't save, you are on your own. So yeah, you have P and L. We have retained earnings loss. So please, if you're doing, kindly save. You have retained earnings, gain. Oh my God, thank God I've not even started the main work, so should have been. You have, where's my liabilities? Liabilities and equity. So I'm doing this again. That's very fast. I need you to be in capital letter. Then assets. So because of my not saving, I have to repeat the steps to your own benefit also. So I'll save. I'm not going to be falling for it again. I'll save. I will not activate now until when I'm done. Okay, so remember, tick here, create new items. I said this was statement of financial position. Then here, profit and loss. and other comprehensive income. Save. Anything I do now have to save. Then assignment, I will take retained earnings, select, put it here, assign, subordinate, take this one, select, take this one, assign, subordinate, take this one, select, make here, and subordinate, take this one, select, here, try, subordinate. Yeah. Okay, then the profit and loss, take this one, assign, select here, make subordinates, save. So lucky I didn't get. So I'm saving. So any step you do, please save. If not, you might have to repeat everything again. Then for assets, assign accounts. No, sorry, create items. I have current assets, non-current assets. I think that's what we have. And intangible. Okay, so we have this for the liabilities. We have current, non-current, and we have stakeholders, equity. So we have these two. So save, you're not going to be playing again. Then for assets, we're not going to put the GL. So click on current assets, go to assign accounts. Okay, I wanted to create an intangible asset. So let me just create, I think that's where this whole thing happened. /O. So create a GL called intangible assets. I will make it 1999. Create, so that it will flow, so that you can appreciate the flow. And this is supposed to be current. This company code is not mine. Using AAA1. Great. Balance sheet. Assets. Tangible. Asset. Tangible assets. I'll just do very sharp posting into this asset. So save. So 1999 is fine. So let's say /n, I want to make a procurement to this GL, SB60, 1999. just to make sure this whole thing gives you some very good stability. A1 is fine. I want to just select a vendor. The date. That's the warning. From down 1999. Say this is 1.2 million. Simulate post. Okay, so this is fine. Okay. Profit center. Why is this balancing profit center in the line? What does this mean? Wait. I hope this is my company code. Let's yeah. Okay. Why is he asking me for profit center? No, I'm going to tamper with my configurations. Let me see what the problem is with this guy. The public server, just be ready. Okay, fine. So let's go back. So I'm here now. I want to assign GLs. For current as I want to and assign the GLs just as you have here. This cash, petty cash, they're all GLs that carry figures. We want to replicate same. So current asset, click on it, go to assign accounts. Then of course I know from 1,000, which is this, to 1,500. So you see all the ones I posted, 1,400. I did something on 1,500, right? Yes, 1,500. Is it 1,600? I did something. Yeah. 1,605. So I want all the GLs. This is for current assets. No. Okay, you can either put that range or you pick them one after the other. So let me come here to, let me check, because 1,600 belongs to assets. So click the drop down and check. So you can see the list of, click here to arrange them. Click this heading to arrange them in alphabetically. So I can say from, okay, I will stop at 1,404. So I can say from 1,000 to 1,404. Tell the system that debit and credit should be included in this transaction, then say okay. So the system has put here, if you open, the system has put here all the GLs that are within this range from 1,000 to 1,404, they fall under current assets. So you see all the GLs have come. Then for non-current asset, click here, select assign accounts. From 1,600, remember we created them as fixed assets, to 1,603 before. 3, let me put, yes, 3. Then select their debits and credits, say okay. So you click on the folder, you see all the assets, all the GLs. Then for intangible assets, assign accounts 1,999 So 1999 is only one we have. One intangible GL we have. Say okay. Is assigned. Now, for liabilities, open it. Current liabilities, assign accounts. From 2000, yeah, to I think we have 2006. Now the system. I think we have one that is loan. We created one loan, but if we don't have loan, we can leave it. So we have this stakeholder equity. I think we had equity, but it has gone under here. So let's see if we have any long-term liability. So basically what this means is that all the GLs that you have created that should fit into these guys, you have to map them. So we don't take too much time. So follow these steps, map all the GLs that you have created within these sub nodes. So if you open the sub nodes for current assets, you will see the range. If you open the range, you'll see all the GLs. So immediately you do this for all of them. So just minimize them. You see the structure. Yeah. So immediately you do this, click on save. Then activate. Now I've saved anything, activate. So let me activate this, my hierarchy, then say okay. So it has been replicated and activated, say okay. So the version has been saved. So once you're done with creating your version and mapping all the GLs into their structure, then we need to now run the financial statement report for the year or for the month. So you can leave this page or open a new page. So for the transaction code for your financial statement is F.01, F.01, click on enter. Then put your company code, your chart of accounts, your company code, come down. The system will pick your version, see the version we created, the reporting year, which is this year, the year before now, which is this 2020, we had issues too. Then you can see the output. All these output types has the way the display will look like. So you have a three-stroke A. I'll use this ALV3 control and structured balanced list because I want the output to look, in a structured form. So once you select this, click on execute. It will tell you the parameter is fine. These are just warning. Say okay. And you have what we call your financial statements. So guys, if you can get to this point in your config from scratch to this point, then you can now pick an SAP system and configure it and appreciate it. So you can see now that, see the statement of financial position, the total of my asset is 10 million. If you open the drop down of the assets, you're going to see current assets and intangible assets because they are the ones that have values. If you open the current assets, you're going to see all the GLs that made up these current assets. If you open the intangible assets, you're going to see the values that made up these intangible assets. You can minimize this. In liabilities, you have current liabilities. If you open the current liabilities, you're going to see the GLs that make up these current liabilities. So this is actually what is expected, that at the end of your config, that's why I said we might not be able to teach you. It's a lot, it takes a lot, but this is the idea, that at the end of the day, you're able to, if you're in the BA part, you're able to make sure that these requirements are gathered. They are, all the data that is needed, and you, of course, work with the stakeholders to make sure that this is achieved. If you're in the functional part and you're going to be doing support, it's fine, beautiful. if you're going to be doing the configuration, it's also expected of you that at the end of the day, you're supposed to map all those GLs you've been creating and you're using. You're supposed to also map them in this form. Yeah. So this is an example of, you see, at the end of the day, I'm able to give AAA oil and gas financial statements. And if you get to this point, then I would say kudos, because you have come a long way. Yeah. So if you know how to map this and get it to this point, then you are really, really, really ready for the next phase. All you need to do is to build on your already existing skill sets, keep learning, and of course, like I've said, the essence of the internship we plan to do is to give it a little bit more context. Yeah, come in a scenario-like form, come in a real big case scenarios where you're going to be interfacing with stakeholders and running through the process as if you were there, and get to appreciate, um, get to connect with your colleagues. There'll be a lot of working with your team members, coming up with new solutions. At the end of the day, we should be able to get to this point. And, you know, with all we have done so far, it's been a long journey, but this is the end. Once you're able to um, set up everything, all the configurations and also map this, then you can, I mean, this is where then you can prepare to go live. Basically, every other thing will take shape as long as once they are posting to those GLs, the financial statement is being prepared. Yeah. So any questions at this point?
Yes, I have a question, Kelechi.
Yes, please.
Okay, does this SAP and the processes we have used so far,
Mm.
does it take care of notes on the account? As you have
Yes, of
normal
course.
account in financial statement, then you have notes on the financial statement.
Yeah,
Is there any
the notes are basically your controlling module. Your notes are there are things, there are GLs in other modules, like you know example is secondary cost elements. There are some modules that don't post to finance, they sit in controlling. So those kind of modules, you have to keep them in your notes. Although they have a link to the GLs, but they are but the way they are structured, right? They hold their own values, but their values do not affect the financial statement,
Yes,
because
I know.
it has already gone to the GLs. So those kinds are what we call notes in SAP. They are everything you do in the system is already in the system. So you can't so that's what we define as notes. Those other modules that have integrations with finance, but do not affect the financial statement. Then another thing is that we also had a structure we called not assigned. Yeah. So normally when you create a GL in the system, a new GL, say for example, we are done with everything and we have gone live. If you create a new GL and it's not automatically mapped to this structure, the GL will be sitting in not assigned. It will carry values, but it will be sitting in not assigned because you have not mapped that GL you created newly into one of these structures. So what
Okay.
you normally have is that those GLs that are not mapped into the structure will sit down in not assigned. Financial notes are other modules that um, receive data from finance, but for example, secondary cost elements only speak to controlling, right? The secondary cost elements don't feed into they don't have any impact in the financial data. They have impact, but because they have their own ledgers, their own accounts, you can't put them into the financial statement. You have to put them in your notes to accounts because they have already moved their transactions to the you know general ledger. So for example, if I pick this financial note and go to assign accounts, okay, it's not active yet. We need to create items. So those, let me show you something that looks so that you would see what it looks like. So if I go to this one is like the standard, this is the best practice. If I go to 110, for example, go to financial statement. If you see notes to accounts, if you click the drop down, you will see, these are secondary cost elements. These are created, they are not part, you see the structure here is not GLs. They are basically controlling module, and you have to put them in your notes to account. So these are the kind of things you will see that will sit in your notes, because they have their structures that are different from what you have in your typical financial statement. Yeah, so this is, if I go to profit and loss, for example, you will see how this one was. You see the structure. Yeah, so I said your configuration depends on the business, the structure, the financial statement of the business. If I open, let's go to balance sheet, the one we have just done. So if you go to liabilities, for example, you see the structure here. So go to liabilities, you see another structure. So you see that under liabilities, you have creditors due within 1 year, creditors due after 1 year, provision for liabilities and charges, clearing accounts. You open this one. So it depends on so you see another structure. So you can see you can have up to 99 drop downs. You can keep going down, 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 down. So if you open payments received on accounts, that's where you now see the GLs. So this is an example of a standard financial statement. So you can see all the GLs that have been marked to that structure. So that's how we prepare and present our financial statements. So, but if you're in the finance team, and it's most likely that if you make it to projects, you'll be supporting or even in charge of developing the structure, according to the financial statement of the business. In my current project, I think I'll be doing this very soon, because we are basically going to UAT. UAT is where the users will test the system themselves. So as I'm done with configuration now, in UAT, there's normally a script that has steps. I will send that script to the users. You're not supposed to be with them, well, you can be around, but they own that process. They will sit down with the system, come up with the script. Yeah, so those who will come to like I said, we can't teach everything here. So that script has like steps. So they will follow the steps, go to the system, log in. Once they pass, all those steps are passed, they will be taking it for you. Any step that fails, they will note it down, let you know. You have to come, reconfigure it, test it again, tell them. So until the UAT is completed, you cannot move to the next step. And that's one of the areas that takes a lot of time. And that's one area that you have to be very, very diplomatic with the stakeholders, because a stakeholder can decide not to sign until they can just want to frustrate you if you don't have, because that is the power they have. At the UAT, they have the power to tell you, I cannot sign on this process because I want it to behave like this. It's based on your interaction, your conversation, your diplomacy, and all. And of course, the BAs are always, always, always involved. BAs are the ones that are in the forefront of UATs, because they know how to interface and how to manage expectations from the business. Okay, guys. Any other questions? So we'll call it today. So what will happen is, this is marking the end of this class. What I will do is, for the session that is left, I will fix what is left in the video then send a typical video for those processes, right? For the asset that we left out, I would finish up and send you a video that has the complete processes for the remaining step